I welcome you back. Thank you for joining me. For this session, I will be looking at the fact that Ruth Matthew was targeted. I'm not sure why, but I strongly believe that the people who own the premises where baby testimony vanished from had studied Ruth Matthew for some time. And then they decided to implement whatever plans they had. And they succeeded and almost succeeded to the end. But thank God for prophets who came on scene. And today, here we are. Everybody is being alerted and being sensitized about the fact that baby testimony is still missing. So she was targeted. Let's all be reminded that Ruth Matthew is a physically challenged person. Could she have been picked upon based on her physical disability, the fact that she would not be able to readily run and chase anybody? Well, I'm just gonna look at a few things. May I remind anyone who may not have been following these events from when Prof X came on board with it, with the start of this year, 2022, please go to see all the videos from his channel. You will find the complete chronology of what happened to our dear sister Ruth Matthew when she went to that place, and we're talking about the missing child today. According to Ruth Matthew's account, the patron of that shrine spoke about the baby when he saw them. He made some words. He focused on the child, not on any of his brothers. Talked about how great the child would become. Interestingly, the older children of Matthew did not get lost, but the very child who was said that he would become great in life. That titled person said a lot of things about that, about baby testimony. And here we are today looking for him. So I'm just wondering if there's a link. Was this a setup? Another thing I want to look at is the fact that some of the workers that are employed at that shrine, they befriended her. They made her comfortable, to be in their presence, them in her presence. They came, they supported them, presented themselves as friends, people who were willing to support a woman who was vulnerable. In fact, we're told that the female worker looked after the missing child. She would pacify him when he cried. She changed his diapers. She was there. They were hovering around them like flies on something that they fancied. The man who was the female worker as well at this site, the shrine, was also very supportive. He was with them. He was like a shadow over the mother and her children. He ran errands for them. So what normally these shrines where they hold all sorts of meaningless events would have handlers. If we cast our minds back to testimonies from other people, they usually have handlers for visitors and people that are targeted. This is one of the reasons why I believe that Ruth Matthew was a target from the start. Our beloved sister was groomed so perfectly until she let down her guard. She then became really, really trustful of the people around her. She let down her guard. She became relaxed. She could just be free with them. Little wonder, it was one of the female workers, the one particularly who used to look after the child, that eventually came with the women who were looking for where to buy something. And she actually encouraged our sister Ruth to allow the children to go with the women, that it's okay. It is also not coincidence that that male worker, who by the way was called Emmanuel Marcos, was the one who stole Ruth Matthew's phone, charger, and bank card while he was still pretending to be a friend of the family after the child had gone missing. He joined them to look for the child. He made her feel like, yeah, we're helping you, we're supporting and assisting you. There, you'd go find a video on Perfect's channel where he was explaining some things in a room or a lounge. I do not know what to call the occasion, but saying all kinds of lies and rubbish about his part in the whole event that we're attending to today. So, in my opinion, Ruth Matthew was targeted. She was picked upon. The patron of that shrine and his workers totally underrated that woman. They saw her as a helpless, defenseless, meaningless, worthless, hopeless person who has nothing and would never be able to withstand them. If he had been a true prophet as he claims to be and want the world to believe, he would have had a sneak peek into the future to see what's going on today. Over 3 years later, he's been dragged through the mud. Producing the CCTV footages would clear him completely. But because he's neck deep in what happened to that precious child, he has refused to release the CCTV footage. But we will not stop. I strongly believe that Ruth Matthew was picked upon, was preyed upon by the vultures, the vampires that parade themselves as children of God and took advantage of her situation. But thank God, who has raised people around the world that are standing with this woman, and by the grace of God, baby testimony will be found, and all those involved will be brought to book to the glory of God. They will face the justice that they deserve, the music that they will dance to in jail, and whatever else that's coming their ways. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you later. God bless.